Hurricane Fiona has been reported as a historic storm and listed as the most destructive worst hurricane in history. Let's dive in to see what actually Hurricane Fiona did and what is so worse about it. Fiona started by killing one man on the French Caribbean island by causing a flood overnight. It was a Category 1 hurricane with a wind gust of up to 74 miles per hour. After at least 4 persons were in Puerto Rico and left the whole island without electricity, Hurricane Fiona escalated to a Category 4 hurricane on Wednesday. Up to 30 inches of rain fell in the southern and southeast of Puerto Rico during the storm, which also dumped 6 to 20 inches of rain on the U.S. Virgin Islands and Puerto Rico. According to Federal Emergency Management Agency officials, the rain caused rivers to overflow their banks and started mudslides and rock collapses. Some Puerto Ricans sought gasoline for generators and other supplies by moving further north to the city of Yauco from the southern hamlet of Guanica. Guanica resident Sanchez claimed that her city was completely out of fuel. As the island battled to restore power during Hurricane Fiona, another resident, Betty Arizari, claimed she had no way of finding out information. With sustained winds of 90 miles per hour and much faster gusts, Fiona made a second landfall in the Dominican Republic close to Boca de Yuma, on the eastern side of the island. The Grand Turks Island was in the path of Fiona's eye, which had a detrimental impact on the archipelago's communications. In North Caicos, Middle Caicos, South Caicos, Grand Turk, and Salt Cay, total blackouts were reported, leaving at least 40% of the area without energy. Providenciales saw power disruptions in 30% of its residents. Moderate damage and no deaths were reported. Large storm Fiona produced sustained tropical storm force winds over Bermuda for several years as it passed east of the island. The Wade International Airport recorded a gust of 160 miles per hour. Power was cut off to more than 280% of Bermuda. After the hurricane battered coastal towns, washing away entire homes and obstructing roads in Nova Scotia, Canadian officials summoned the military to assist eastern Canada on Sunday. The southwest of Newfoundland and the eastern shore of Nova Scotia were struck by waves that were at least 40 feet high. Water from the storm flooded playgrounds, uprooted big trees, and tore coastal homes off their foundations. According to the authorities, a 73-year-old woman was murdered when the storm carried away her home, while another person who was reportedly swept into the ocean was saved. Tim Houston, the Premier of Nova Scotia, said during a news conference on Saturday that Cape Breton on the province's eastern coast, where downed power lines and debris filled the streets, suffered the worst consequences. One of the strongest hurricanes ever to impact Canada, Fiona was reduced from a Category 3 hurricane to a post-tropical cyclone on Friday. The governor claims that the island's hospitals are now using generators to power their operations. After rivers grew and heavy rains affected the system, only 34% of homes on the island have access to potable water, leaving more than 834,000 people without access to clean drinking water. Authorities have saved more than 1,000 individuals, including a woman who spent 7 hours trapped in a tree after trying to see the damage. According to utility companies, more than 82,000 consumers on Prince Edward Island and 360,720 customers, respectively, in Nova Scotia have lost power. Numerous road closures were reported by police departments in the area. Mobile phone coverage was reportedly patchy in the area. More than a quarter of Canada's potatoes are produced on Prince Edward Island, and the storm was certain to have an impact on the island's potato farms, which are currently in the harvest. Nobody here has ever seen something worse than this. With each passing year, the connections between hurricanes and climate change have become more obvious. We could only pray for an incident like this never to happen again. Thank you for watching.